So welcome back to the workshop. I'm just in the middle of making one of my standard mandolins, which will be offered up for sale probably in a few months' time once it's been complete. I've not made one of my pure standard mandolins for quite a while, as I've been fairly busy with commission work. So let me show you what I've been up to. So one of the first things I'm going to do is bend the sides. Now this sapele that I'm using is really quite highly figured. I don't know if you can see it there in the video. And you never quite know how it's going to behave once you're trying to bend it. So it's a good idea to do that task first, because if you do have a disaster, you've not invested too much time in the rest of the instrument. So yeah, so let's bend those sides. How do you know if your bending iron's hot enough? That's hot enough. Right, first bend. There we go, pretty much spot on. Patience, my friends, is a virtue. Right, so that's the first side bent. That will get clamped into the mould, dry out overnight, and then we can look at the end blocks tomorrow. So bend in the next one. So as you can see, the sides have been successfully bent, and they're just going to say dry out in the exterior mould there. I've just been preparing these solid maple linings, so they will be bent to fit the sides, and on each of the edges there will be 2 layers of that maple, so in effect giving me 5mm thick solid linings running around the top and the back surfaces. I've also rough cut the neck block, so that will be glued in once I put the mould back together again. And we've got the towel block here also ready to go down the end there, and that's made from plywood. And I always like to use plywood, because then you can be sure that when you put the screws in to hold the towel piece, it's not going to split. Well, as you can see, the rim is now together. The double thickness maple linings give it this incredibly rigid structure. We've got the 2 blocks which tie the whole thing together, and at the end here got a nice little piece of macassar ebony for the end graft, and that will match the head overlay. All the inside has been sanded, so it's lovely and smooth and kind of almost polished, so you get a bit of a reflective surface. So yes, so that's the rim to be set to one side whilst I get on with the back. And of course it's made from the same lovely figured sapele. I don't know if you can see the kind of rippling effect as it catches the light as I turn that, but yes, I'm going to start doing the work now on the back. So as you can see, this is the start of the neck, made from maple. If you've seen my videos before, you know that I like to laminate my necks, so I've got 2 pieces of maple and a veneer going down the middle there. That veneer will actually match the back and sides, so it all ties in. Also, to aid the stability of the neck, you'll see that the annual rings are perpendicular to the surface of the neck, so that in fact means that that neck is really perfectly quarter sawn. I always like to do a spliced head joint, spoken about that many times before. I just think it's the superior way of making an instrument. So the next task here is to route the channels which will take the carbon fibre. Once that's been epoxied in, I can glue on the head overlay, and then once that's dry, cut out the head shape and drill the holes for the tuners. So that's as much as I do to the neck at this stage. Carbon fibres in, head shape cut out, beautiful Macassar ebony head overlay, tuner holes, even the screws which retain the tuners, started carving the volute. So the next time I work on this neck, it will be to cut the tenon for it to go into the body joint. So yeah, that will get set aside now for a couple of days while I work on the rest of the instrument. So in parallel to working on the back, I've started work on the soundboard, which is being made from some Adirondack spruce. And you can see that I've cut the sound hole and I've put my binding around that inner edge there. So with my standard mandolins, I just simply bind the inside of the sound hole there. My aim with the standards is to offer the average musician an affordable instrument, but that affordable instrument is still a high quality, handmade, luthier built instrument made from beautiful tone woods. Something like an abalone rosette around the sound hole would probably take me an extra 5 to 6 hours to do, plus of course the cost of the materials. So by stripping away that extra ornamentation, I can offer that high quality instrument at an affordable price. So yeah, that's the whole point of my standard specification instruments. So as you can see, the body is now all together, and very pleased with the progress on it so far. So the next step is to route a rebate around the edges for the bindings. Now the bindings are not purely aesthetic, they do have a very, very important function. This edge, or these edges, are incredibly fragile, and you must have an instrument fully bound right the way around to protect these fragile edges from any accidental knocks. Otherwise you could really damage an instrument quite severely. Right, so there is the body now, all fully bound, and that lovely sheen that you can see, which brings out the figuring of the sapele there, that's not due to any kind of finish that I've applied. That's purely the surface of the wood after working through successive grades of abrasive paper, and then really right at the very end just giving it a buff up with some paper towel. And yeah, so that looks really quite pretty, doesn't it? So that's the body now complete. So in parallel with working on the body, I've prepared the ebony fretboard. So as you can see, all the slots have been cut. These holes that I've drilled will act as pilot holes for the position markers, but also for the little wooden pegs that I put through into the neck to ensure alignment whilst the fretboard is being glued on. And down the side there you can see that the side markers have been put in. So that's obviously the main elements of the mandolin completed now, and the next step is obviously to get everything assembled. Well, hopefully this mandolin, this standard mandolin, should be completed in a couple of months' time. Once it is, I'll do another video running through the full spec of it and give a bit of a demonstration, and obviously post it here on YouTube. And I'll also put the full details of it on my website. So if you are interested in owning this particular mandolin, just have a look on YouTube and my website from time to time, and hopefully you will see it there. Oh, by the way, the price now for my standard mandolins is £985, and that includes a high quality Hiscox case, but of course shipping is extra. So yeah, many thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and I'll see you again soon. Until then, you take care. Cheers.